Hello and welcome to Hockey Talk. My name is Jaret Schneider along with Jordan Peca, and it's been a fun week in the NHL. There's been a lot of things going on. We've had things like the Team Canada World Junior roster announced, or got few more cuts to make before they select the actual team. But there's been some exciting things going on the past week. We've got some injury updates on, including Steven Stamkos, which we'll get to. But maybe we'll jump into one I know you kind of wanted to talk about. It was Ilya Bryzgalov, the Oiler goaltender.
Oiler goaltender? Good old Oilers goaltender. And it's kind of unfortunate for the Oilers. I mean, let's be honest. This team was definitely struggling, and they went out and got a goaltender that we have seen had success in the NHL. And he did kind of bring a lift to the team. He was playing very well. He was definitely keeping them in games. And then for him to get injured and now be out of the lineup, it pretty much undoes all the good they did in getting him. And I think it's going to be pretty difficult for them to dig themselves out of this hole.
Yeah, I don't actually know how long he's out for, but I know he played a couple of games. One of the games wasn't very good. He played a game, I think that was all right or something like that. But I don't know, you're right, it's too bad. I mean, there's a few things they need, and we'll get to some of that in a little bit too. It's tough to see him go down for the Oilers. I know they're kind of actually making strides in the right direction. They were winning more games than they were losing. They obviously had a huge hole to climb, and they still do. But they were kind of making some positive strides after the horrid start that they had. So I don't know. We'll see how things go with him, I guess. Another thing right now is Steven Stamkos has got a kind of an injury update with him. He's going to work out with Gary Roberts over Christmas. Then he's going to do 2 workouts a day, a 2-a-day workout throughout January, and he's actually projected to be back already. I don't know how they can do this, but a game against the Leafs in late January. So before the Olympic break, he's actually projected. And knowing him, he's walking already, he's jogging, he's working out already. This is phenomenal for breaking your leg like not even a month ago.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, you got to give credit to the doctors that set the leg, and credit to him for healing that quickly. I mean, it's almost unheard of, but he does look good. And I think a lot of it too is pressure he puts on himself. He doesn't want to be out. He knows that he's a big part of his team, and he knows they're counting on him to come back. And so I think he's pushing himself a little bit. So barring any setbacks in his injury, if he can be back for that game against the Leafs before the Olympic break, I think it'll be really helpful for him, because it's great working out and it's great practicing, but nothing's ever game speed, right? It's never the same. So if he can get that one game in before the Olympic break and then still make the Olympic team, I think he'll be phenomenal.
Yeah, if he's even remotely close to being ready by the time they have to announce it, which I believe actually January 6th, so right after Christmas. But if he's working out and skating and stuff by January 6th, they'll put him on that roster because they know in a month's time, there's no way he won't be ready. Whether, he'll be skating, he'll be playing games and stuff in January, and he'll be getting to that point. But when they have to announce it, I think it is January 6th or 8th or something, when they have to announce that team, he will be on it. He will be announced. He will be on that team. He'll make that team. He'll be skating. He'll get himself ready for the Olympics. Knowing him, he'll be ready. He'll be ready to play some NHL games before. But that's what his whole focus is here for the next 2 months, is to get ready for that Team Canada and get there on the Olympics. So it's pretty exciting, I think. Steven Stamkos is a phenomenal player. He's a very exciting player. Something to look forward to. And I personally be watching his recoverment time and see how things go with him.
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of a good lift for the Olympics as well overall, because I know there's a very deep talent pool for Team Canada, absolutely. But I think you think like guys like Steve Yzerman, definitely in the back of their mind going, if we can't bring Stamkos, who steps up? And there's obviously a lot of people that can, but he's a player of an unbelievable caliber, unbelievable quality. There's not too many guys like that. And so knowing that there's a very good chance that he'll be on the team, I think it's a big weight off everyone's shoulders.
Yeah, and it puts Steve Yzerman in a little bit of a different situation, being not only the team who picks Team Canada, but the GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's in a different situation because this player he sees on a daily basis, and this is the guy he's paying most amount of money for to play for his NHL team, right? So it puts him in a little bit of a different state. Yes, he wants him to be there for Team Canada. Steve Yzerman has a priority to Team Canada, and he wants to see Team Canada do well. But he's also got to want Steven Stamkos to be there for his NHL club. And if he's going to put him at a risk playing in the Olympics, he's not going to do it. There's no way he's going to put him at a future risk, and maybe even more so being the GM of the team that he plays for. So I think that's another thing to kind of look out for and to see how that kind of rolls, because obviously we want him there. But Steve Yzerman is going to have Stamkos' best interest in mind when he picks this team and when they decide who plays for this team. So that's, some things to look forward to. Another thing is World Juniors. Honestly, one of my favorite times of the year. It's Christmas, it's the holidays, and I love the World Juniors. It's an exciting tournament. It's so much fun to watch. It's quick, which is almost too bad, but that's what makes it exciting is these guys come together. And they've announced the roster, Jordan, and I think there's some talent on there. There is every year. There was last year. You look at the guys who played in the past and the successes they went on to be. But this team, I like this team.
I like this team a lot. You got guys like Hunter Shinkarik on the team that are really going to help the team for sure. One thing I found kind of surprising, actually, they didn't pick up Max Domi. And everyone knows he's Ty Domi's son. We know what kind of player Ty Domi is. And people kind of compare his son to Ty Domi with a little bit more skill. So he's got a lot of grit, just like his dad did. But he has a bit of a scoring touch as well. And I think that can be a big help to your team. Somebody that can play a little physical and be a little stronger, but still have good net presence and get you some goals. And I'm a little surprised to see him not on the team.
Yeah, he was a high pick in this year's entry draft. He was, I believe, like 12th overall to Phoenix. So, I mean, he's a phenomenal player. There is phenomenal talent on that team. Also, they left out Darnell Nurse, who was kind of like the one defenseman who they thought should be in there, a big, tall guy. The Oilers drafted him. That's what they need. They drafted him to sort of fill that role in the future. So it's too bad to not see him on there. But there is some talent on the team. You've got guys like a Jets pick, Josh Morrissey, who was, I believe, the 19th overall pick in the draft this year. He's going to be on Team Canada. Chris Bigros, rather, who's a defenseman for the Colorado Avalanche. There's some other talent, J.C. Lippon, who plays for Kamloops out in the Western Hockey League. There's other guys like Taylor Lear. There's also young guys, Connor McDavid, who's not only going to be he's not in the upcoming draft, he's in the year after. He's in the 2015 draft, so it's phenomenal. He's 16 years old. He's a phenomenal young talent. He's going to be there for a while, And then you got some leaders coming back like Jonathan Drouin, who I love. I love Jonathan Drouin. He's a phenomenal hockey player. He's a Tampa Bay Lightning draft pick. He was 3rd overall. He's the guy I look for in this tournament, Jordan. I think he'll be awesome.
Absolutely, and when you get that veteran presence, I mean, like you said, it's only a quick tournament, but all the guys are young, and sometimes having a guy that's maybe a year or 2 years older than most of the guys and that's been there before helps a lot. And I find it a little surprising and unfortunate that the Calgary Flames' Sean Monahan isn't going to be there. I think he deserves a chance to go back and play for that team again. I think he could be a very big help to that team. But at the same time, I can see where Jay Feaster's coming from, the general manager of the Flames. He's realized pretty much that since bringing in Monahan's been easily one of their best players. And can you really afford to lose him for that tournament while your team is still going? I mean, how do you accept that?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I think he deserved to be in the World Juniors. I think he would have loved to play there. But I think he has to understand, and his general manager gets it, that he's in the NHL now, and that's where his loyalties lie.
Yeah, that's where it is. It's like that every year. I mean, you see it every year. You saw it way back with Crosby, who I believe played like 2 years in the NHL when he was still eligible to play in the World Juniors. You've got more guys this year. You've got Dumba for the Jets, who won't be, Dumba for the Wild, who is being released from the NHL because he's not playing a huge role with the team. But then you've got like Nathan McKinnon, who's been a huge part of the Avalanche, who there's no way that Patrick Waugh is letting him go back to play for Team Canada. So that's too bad. I mean, we always miss out on talent. The other teams do too. I know there's a Finnish kid who's in the NHL who could go back. There's a whole bunch of American players again. So we'll see how that goes. If we hop into something else here, it's getting into Christmas. It's our last show before Christmas. So we thought we'd do something a little bit different for this one. We're going to do some sort of a wish list thing. We've got a couple of teams here labeled out, some teams that are doing well and some teams that aren't so doing well, and some things we hope that, what is this team going to need, Jordan? So maybe I'll go to you first. With your first team, we'll kind of go back and forth as it. I believe you had Ottawa on yours. So
yeah.
What does Ottawa need to sort of get out of where they are and make the playoffs and make a cup run maybe?
Well, we've said it time and again, the consistently inconsistent Ottawa Senators. They're up, they're down. They play some good games, some bad games. What they really got to do is shore up that back end. If they had any one thing they could wish for, it'd be a fourth defenseman, someone to complete that hole. Because last year they had really good goaltending and they were really strong defensively. And somehow over the offseason they lost a little bit of that. And so the way they could do that, you could think of bringing in a free agent, bringing in a trade. I know that the general manager, Brian Murray's been looking kind of at moves. And if there's anything that could really help their defense, would be a little more scoring. If you let in 5 goals, but you score 6, it's not such a big deal. But right now, they don't have any secondary scoring. Bobby Ryan's come in; he's been fantastic. But apart from him, the other guys are really not doing all that much. And Milan Mihalik's gone into a pretty big slump. He hasn't played well. He's on the 3rd line now, so he might be a guy we could possibly see on the way out to bring in that 4th defenseman. But I think if they can shore up that back end, I think they can be pretty good going into the new year.
Yeah, that sense. We'll see how they can go. I mean, my first team is the Jets. The Jets, they're in a tough situation right now. Paul says they don't need anything, but they're in a tough situation. They're not in the playoff spot right now. They're in an extremely hard division. I look at the Jets right now and I think, wow, what could they need? Well, they're a young team. Claude Noel's in his 3rd season there already. So do you need a new coach? Maybe not. I mean, there's always guys. Things start to get a little different. Maybe a new coach comes in and changes it up a little bit. Some scoring. Obviously, any team would love some more scoring. Some defense. I know the Jets give up the most amount of shots in the league. They did last year. So maybe some defensemen. The goalies have been weak at times. You know, Pavlik's a good goaltender. I think he's a good goaltender if he gets the help that he deserves. I mean, they give up way too many scoring opportunities. So maybe some defensive defensemen, some shutdown guys, some big shutdown guys. You know, I hate to use it like a Dion Phaneuf or, you know, some big guys like a Scott Stevens, an old Scott Stevens. They've got Bufflin, who's got the offensive skill, and you need offensively skilled defensemen. But I think if the Jets needed something, it'd be maybe a shutdown pair of defensemen that you go to. You throw them out there like a Duncan Keith and a Brent Seabrook that you throw out there and you just shut everything down. You know, when they're on the ice, or you know, a Ryan Suter, when he's on the ice, you don't get scored on. And I think that's something they could use because they have the scoring there. They've got the offensive talent. You see it every game. You know, they lose tough hockey games, 6-5, 5-4. I think a big shutdown defenseman to limit some of those goals, and they would start to see more points riled up, and they would start to see some more wins. So that's my first team.
All right, my second one, I'm going to go to Buffalo. And we've talked a lot this year about kind of their woes, and they've been struggling a lot this year. But I'm actually going to say that going forward and going into Christmas, they can be positive. I think at the beginning of the year, they were kind of wishing for a change, a shakeup. They realized that maybe this season's not going to be the one. Maybe the guys on this team aren't the team to win. And they went out and made a trade. They got rid of Thomas Vanek. They brought in a much younger guy in Matt Molson. And this is definitely a team you can build around going forwards. You know, I think they need some pieces, definitely defensively. Maybe they want to look at goaltending a little bit to see if there's anything out there. But I think their big wish, at least to make a move early on, was to get something to start a rebuild moving forward. I think they got that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe some more draft picks if you can ask for that. But we'll see how things go with the Sabres over the next little while. My second team is the Edmonton Oilers. Kind of in the same boat as the Jets, I'd like to think. A shutdown defenseman for sure. This one's kind of guaranteed. They've got phenomenal amounts of offensive talent. They could get a couple of D-men, a couple of shutdown D-men, like I said, a pair of defensemen. They've got Darnell Nurse, who could be coming in next year. Phenomenal defenseman, helping out that way. Obviously, they needed a goaltender. They brought in a goaltender, not that he was going to solve everything. Obviously, he goes down, so maybe a goaltender now as well with the Oilers. But they need a couple of things right now. Defensive help, defensive in-zone help. They give up a ton of shots as well. The save percentage isn't there on the goaltenders, and it's resulting in 6-5, 7-6, weird losses all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of a tough road for them going forward. I think they got a chance. And my final team, I picked a team we don't talk a lot about, the New Jersey Devils. They've been very, very, very quiet this year. Not a great team. They're having some troubles. Right now, I mean, basically all they have in terms of scoring is Andrei Lokhtianov. He's a really young guy, great player, but I think they were really banking on Ilya Kovalchuk being on their team. And then after the draft and after the start of free agency, he went to Russia and kind of handcuffed the organization. So going forward, especially around Christmas time, they're going to be wishing for some secondary scoring, maybe to bring in somebody. Maybe there's someone in their organization they can make a trade for. Their defense isn't too bad. I know they've got Corey Crawford now, so their goaltending woes are pretty much taken care of going forwards, but they need more scoring. I can see that's what they want.
And my last team, I'm actually going to go to the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild are, I think, I've kind of had them as the last couple of years as being that team that could take the next level. They've got, guys like Zach Parise. They brought in Ryan Suter. They've got some phenomenal defensive core. They've got a phenomenal goalie. Not only Nicholas Backstrom, but Harding as well has played phenomenal in there. I love Harding. I mean, he's got a huge story with, I believe he has MS. And he's got a huge background story to him. I think he's a phenomenal goaltender, but I think they need some scoring. They need a couple more forwards, maybe a couple of wingers, increase that power play percentage a little bit, get a couple more goals every night. They shut down. They do a very good job shutting down. I think they're on the opposite end of the Oilers and the Jets. I think they need some forwards, maybe a couple more. They've got a couple there. Don't get me wrong. They've got some pieces there, but they're not quite to the level of Chicago or to the level of St. Louis in their division there. So I think they could use a couple more scoring guys up there. They've got the back end kind of solved. A few more goals is really going to help them out, Jordan. So that's a wish list, I think. We went through a couple of teams there. Obviously, as we head into Christmas, maybe look for some trades. I know that's always a huge topic, especially around the Christmas break here. But other than that, maybe we'll hop into picks now.
All right, let's do it. How did we do last week?
Both went 4-3 last week.
Not bad.
So, okay. So we're staying kind of in the same thing here. We're kind of going positive. You're 33-30 to this point, and I'm 31-32. So
still below 500, but you're getting there.
I'm 2 games behind you right now. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. Both 4-3 right there. This week, we'll start it off with a game tonight. It's a West versus East matchup. You don't ever get to see, actually. San Jose at Pittsburgh.
I think that's going to be a phenomenal game, possibly the best one we see this week. And I will take Pittsburgh. They are flying high right now, and they're not going to slow down.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually. I like Pittsburgh a lot. They've done some great things phenomenal. You saw Crosby score a beautiful goal in overtime. I love the way he just picked the stick of the Islander, turned the puck around, split 2 D-men, and just made one move and flicked it home. It was an absolutely phenomenal goal. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh as well in that one. Tomorrow night we have Anaheim at Chicago.
Oh, very, very good one. I will take Chicago. I think they got a lot going for them, and they're in Chicago, right? So that
Yeah,
home,
it's in
that home
Chicago.
team, definitely.
I agree with you on this one. I mean, I like Chicago as well. Anaheim's been a phenomenal team too. They've got a ton of scoring up front there. But I like Chicago on home ice. The Madhouse on Madison, they're a phenomenal hockey team, so I'll take Chicago. Saturday we have Toronto at Ottawa.
And Toronto started off the season fantastically, but they've been hit by the injury bug, and they've just died. The Sens, again, inconsistent, but I'll take the Sens in this game.
You're going to take the Sens, and I'm going to take the Leafs. You know what? They've been, you're right, kicking the can lately. They've lost some weird game. I think they lost like 6-0 to the Blue Jackets a little while ago. So I think they're going to bounce back. I think, they're going to go into Ottawa here. It's going to be a tough game, don't get me wrong. Ottawa's been very well so far, but I'm going to take the Leafs on this one. Sunday, we have Colorado and Vancouver.
Oh, very big game, very big Western game. Both teams playing phenomenally, but I think the experience of Vancouver will take it.
You're going to take Vancouver.
I'll take Vancouver.
All right, I'm going to take Colorado. They're going to be on a bit of a road swing, a 3-game swing. They play in Edmonton tonight, then Calgary tomorrow, and then 2 days later they're in Vancouver. But I like Colorado as a road team. They've been a good road team this year. The games that they're losing tough games on home ice. They've beat LA 1-0 on a road game. They went into Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh. They went into Toronto and beat Toronto. They're a good road team, so I think Patrick Waugh brings that very good road mentality to that team. So I like Colorado on the road this week against a couple of teams, actually. But I'll take them in that game. Moving forward, we have the Islanders in Anaheim to play the Ducks.
That should be a good game. The Islanders are a bit of a young team, but I think Anaheim's going to take that game. They're a strong team. They're a fast, physical team, and I think they might just walk all over the Islanders.
I agree with you, actually. I like Anaheim. The Islanders played a very good game against the Penguins the other night, took it all the way to overtime, and actually the Islanders should have won that game a few times, but they didn't. Pittsburgh stole it away, and I think Anaheim's going to kind of do the same. It's going to be across the country in Anaheim for the Islanders, so it's a tough game there for them. But I would take Anaheim on home ice. The next game we have Boston in Calgary.
Both teams kind of up and down. Boston's starting to really pull it together and be a really strong team, and Calgary kind of still up and down. I think Boston can take this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you again. Boston, they're too strong of a team. Calgary's kind of in a different place right now. It's in Calgary, so Boston's going to be on a western road swinging during this one, but I just like Boston. Just too big, too physical. Then the last game of the week, we have Philadelphia in Chicago.
Not a whole lot going right for Philadelphia so far this year. They've been horrendously inconsistent. They got a lot of problems. I don't see them being able to take this one. Chicago's just too good right now.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that last one as well. They're just too good. Home ice again, phenomenal hockey team. So I like Chicago in this one. As far as the week goes, we agreed on 5. We split on 2. And then we'll keep things going throughout the Christmas breaks. I know this is the last show before Christmas because of holidays. Paul, month-long holidays. But anyway, we'll keep the picks going. Honestly, we'll keep honest picks. We'll make them. We'll see how it goes. It'll be a month later, so we'll be, through another 30 games or so. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch.
Should both be far above 500 by then.
Hopefully. We'll see. But other than that,
hey, it's another great week in the NHL, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, when we'll get closer to World Juniors, we'll have some World Juniors to talk about after Christmas. So for Jordan Peca, Jaret Schneider for Hockey Talk on Shaw TV, thanks for watching.